So what I've done here is I've gone ahead and taken the box off the top of the cooler. This is the new cooler. You probably, if you saw the other video, you'll recognize it as pretty much the same as the coolers that I previously built. And we're going to pull apart some of the styrofoam. We're going to open it up, show you what it's like inside, and describe some of the parts to it. Make sure that it's all intact. I've already done a walk around on the cooler itself, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape. Doesn't look like I've gotten any damage. A little ding or a scratch doesn't really mean here nor there to me. I deal with that all the time. But these days they're putting a plastic coating on the tops and sides of these coolers to try and keep them from getting scratched. Of course, these wine coolers used to be considerably less expensive, but as they get a little bit more expensive, I think people get a little bit more picky about whether they got dings and scratches in them. These coolers were designed to be put, can be like undermounted in a kitchen situation, and so they do vent out the front. And whether that's not necessarily really important to me, but if you do want to put the humidor into a more confined space, this allows the humidor to continue to function and be cool. It's like any other appliance. It does need to have some airflow. It does need to breathe. So let's go ahead and pull some pieces off this thing, open it up. Forgive me, I'm still enjoying my cigar. Now, one of the first things that we're going to be doing here is we're just going to go ahead and take these shelves out. The fact of the matter is even though they're kind of nice shelves, we're not going to be using them. We can't use them. First off, they're too deep. When we install the new back into this cooler, it will not allow these shelves to sit in here anymore because we're going to take up too much space. We have fans, we have ducting, we have other items that are going to take up some of this space, and these shelves just won't do. One of the things that I do sometimes, because I don't make shelves for these coolers, is I'll use some of the wire shelves that come out of the formal wine coolers. I cut them just with a bolt cutter, and that allows them to fit back in the back. Plus, because they're wire shelves, there's no impediment to airflow inside the cooler, and that's very important to me. Aesthetics are really a secondary concern to me to overall performance and overall use of the cooler itself. It's just it's not that important to me that I have something made out of wood or that, you know, has some kind of fancy look to it, because that really doesn't make the humidor work any better. What is the primary importance to me is that the humidor is built and works as designed and works well, not looks well. But we do try to make products that are machined nicely and aesthetically pleasing. You know, but again, drawers, all that kind of stuff, that's of no major interest to me and my projects. So we'll go ahead and pull the rest of these shelves out. Now that that's done, one of the first things that we're really going to have to do here is to make sure that the machine works. Since these are made in China, you know, who knows? I have quite a few of them, and of the many coolers that I've built so far, I've never had one fail. We really short cycle the coolers, and that can be book detrimental to any type of compressor cooler type of system, but it's never damaged one of my coolers. And at least what I found is that running them in short bursts is considerably better for them than trying to have them overcome really high temperatures by being run constantly, hour after hour after hour, where they build up a lot of heat. When it gets hot in here, you can reach around and grab one of these compressors. Say it's 90 degrees in here, and you're storing your cigars at 70. The compressors can get pretty hot, but that's not like attempting to keep it at 40 degrees inside while it's 90 degrees in here. There's a huge difference. So I haven't had any extraordinary failure rate. I've had a zero failure rate, and even this cooler over here. So let's see if we can point you over there to see that. That particular guy, I've had that cooler for, I don't know, must be about 7 years now, and it's been remade, oh, I don't know, well over half a dozen times to different configurations. It's got more holes in it than than a perforated edge of a paper towel, from how many conversions I've done on it, and it still works. It works just great. I test a lot of stuff in that cooler, and I keep some cigars in there as well. So what I'm going to do is we're going to spin this thing around. We're going to plug it in, and we're going to do a little just see what that we bought, the cooler that we bought, works the way it's supposed to. All of this stuff's going in the trash. Doesn't really matter, but we want to make sure that basically that the cooling system works, and that the cooler itself cools and does what it's supposed to do. So what I've done now is gotten my non-contact thermometer, and we're going to go ahead and plug this guy in, and we're going to see exactly how fast it cools, where it cools, and make sure that it's working properly. So let me go plug it in. Alright, that sound means that it's sprung to life. Looks like you can see the inside of there okay. But this is my non-contact thermometer. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the back here and just see what kind of temperatures we're getting. And it looks like they're running 60s, in about the 60 degree category. So we'll give it a second to cool off. There's a bunch of junk on here, and we're going to want to wipe this thing down. We'll clean this whole cooler. It's like this little fan is sprung to life too. Boy, is this thing a waste. That's just garbage. We're just going to remove that. This guy's not really cooling as fast as I'd like it. You can usually tell with these where the actual nozzle for the coolant is, and they're usually, it's either in one of the corners typically, and I found this one, it's right here. This is really the first cold spot on the cooler. You can see that water is actually, I don't know if you can see it or not, but water vapor is already condensing on it, and it's pretty dry in here. And that cool is now spreading around here through the top of the cooler. So that's pretty much good for now. The next step will be do some disassembly and some cleaning. I doubt you're going to want to sit through watching me clean the thing, so we're not going to bother to really get into that. I'll use a concoction of baking soda, maybe some ammonia. We'll clean it up and try and get some of the plastic smell out of it. One of the things to note is that these are they're either ABS on the inside or polystyrene, and that means if you use any types of solvents, alcohols or anything like that, you can potentially do damage to them, because some of those chemicals will actually dissolve the interior of the cooler, and we don't want to do that. So just be careful what you use to clean it with. The baking soda is a good safe bet. It takes a lot of the stink out, and it's a good overall household cleaner. The thing that you need to be wary about with the baking soda is that it will leave a film in there, and since we're going to be adhering parts to the back of this cooler, you want to make sure that you get all that film off. So either use plenty of clear water to make sure that you remove the film, or sometimes I use like a little Windex, a little window cleaner that has some ammonia in it, and to go ahead and take all that film off. The smell on these things does go down after a while, especially after you let them air out for a while. But since we're actually going to be bonding to the back, we're going to pick up some more odor from the adhesives that we're going to use there too. So you're going to want to be sure and give it plenty of time to air out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this guy a couple of days to run to make sure that I haven't gotten a bad unit. I want to make sure that it runs and cycles and does its thing, and doesn't overheat and explode, burn down, do whatever the heck it could do, before I go putting extra time and materials into it. I want to make sure that I got a good one, basically. The unit does seem to run pretty quiet. I don't have a problem with that. It does seem to have adequate cooling. This is well below frozen at this point in time. It's showing in the negatives. Well, I need to get some new batteries for that. Let's get into that. So we're going to go ahead and let it run for a while. It's just going to take up the floor space and do its thing until I make sure that it's not broken. Thanks for watching.